Good evening and welcome to Conover Studio on the campus of UW-Whitewater. You're watching Warhawk Sports Wednesday, Thursday edition live on UWW-TV. Today we bring you women's basketball featuring the UW Lady Warhawks hosting the UW-Oshkosh Titans in a WIAC conference semifinal matchup. I'm at Bruzas and I'm joined by Dowdell and Matheny. Our job for the next 30 minutes is to take you through the pregame festivities leading right up tip-off where Kobe Brault, Corey Moen, Parker Resner, and Lucas Rault are standing by. Guys, let's get our show started by catching up with how the Warhawks fared in their last game against UW-Stout, and it was a 65-56 victory. And one thing that stood out to me was Becky Rader getting 40 minutes of action, and she got 19 points in a game where Whitewater had the #1 seed in the WIAC tournament already locked up.
Well, I think the big thing that stood out to me was Rebecca Schumacher. If you look at what she did in that last game, starting off the game so hot. She had 2 3-pointers, which got the team right off to start, well off the bat. I enjoyed watching her firing from all cylinders against UW-Stout. Although Stout got their shots to fall in the fourth quarter, just under 45%, it wasn't enough to beat the Warhawks, especially when they shot 30% as a team. And the big thing I also saw, Stout had 54 rebounds. 26 of them were offensive rebounds. That's huge, guys.
Yeah, I want to focus in more on the Oshkosh games. That game in January, Whitewater lost by double digits, but they had better shooting percentage than Oshkosh, and I just think that's insane. Porath went for 17. I just think, and you go and look in the next game, Oshkosh had 5 players in double digits, 2 coming off the bench, 3 in the starting lineup, and Arneson had 0 points, which is really crazy to think about, one of the top players for them. And you look at this game, I think it's gonna be important. If you even look at the Warhawks, they had 6 players score all 68 points, which I think is crazy, and I think that could be a key factor going into today's game.
You know, the last time these two teams played, I mean, the Warhawks, the first time they weren't able to get it done, but the second time it was a really close game. It was a 3-point shooting battle. They were plentiful throughout the game. Going back to Carson Ruth, which I would like to mention too, she had 4 3-pointers. She was 4 for 9 in that game, firing on all cylinders. I think she's grown her role into being more of an outside shooter, especially though she's a center. That's something crazy to look at too.
Yeah, and I think that'll be also key for the when she sets that screen and they have the pick and pops, and they also and the ability for Porath to able to drive the lane or to kick it back out to her. The defense is really going to be on its heels for Whitewater.
Yeah, I think that's a big point. Those pick and pops is something you really got to look at. I think they got to hedge if you're the defender on the screener, and you have to stay there and not go onto the shooter in Ruth right away. You have to wait for that communication. So communication is going to be big, and you got to switch if the on-ball defender wants to switch.
And we can't forget about what happened in the last game with the Warhawks and the Titans only about 2 weeks ago, if that. What happened was Veronica Carries with the late game heroics being able to win the game for the Warhawks with just under 15 seconds to go. That layup was amazing, and wow, guys, that was such an exciting game. I can't wait to see what we have today.
Yeah, and I think they also went back and forth in that game too. Oshkosh had an 8-point lead at one point in the second half, and then Whitewater came storming back. But the Oshkosh, they called a timeout to draw a play up for a 3-point play to tie it. But they all got a turnover, and then as you mentioned, Sam, the Warhawks finished it out. What do you guys look for in today's game for the defensive wise for Whitewater?
Like I was saying earlier, I think it's gonna be important to watch screens, and I think Sam's gonna mention a lot of Ruth, how she's gonna be important for getting a defender out of the lane. I just think what's gonna be important is switching. It's gonna be important to stop those cutters and watch those off-ball screens and to get those 3-point shooters to flare.
And we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, we'll talk more Warhawk women's basketball, including some of the players key to the success throughout the season. Stay tuned. This is Warhawk Sports Wednesday, Thursday edition live on UWW-TV.